Before we begin, here's how to earn continuing professional education credit for attending this session. Gain valuable insights by attending the podcast, then complete the assessment test to download your certificate. To do this, follow these simple steps. Click on the link in your description to access the session. Create a free account and attend the podcast. After the podcast, take the assessment test and download your certificate. It's easy, and it's free. We highly recommend checking out our subscription.
Interesting. What I love is that you didn't just end up in cannabis accounting. There was real intentionality behind it. Uh, like you rightly mentioned, your background in chemical engineering. So it's not a way that people would think about it. I'm going to do a chemical engineering and probably be an accountant and then serve the cannabis industry. But you just kind of like set in way, and you're clearly passionate about the work that you're doing in the right way, from compliance, professionalism, clarity. But I want to talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of CPAs still think serving cannabis businesses is legally risky or even unethical for some people. So what are you hearing from your peers?
Well, um, cannabis is obviously federally legal. It's currently listed on the Schedule 1 of controlled substances.
Right.
And that aspect of being federally illegal really, um, I guess, a lot of CPAs hesitant in serving
Yeah.
cannabis operators because of the aspect that it is federally illegal. And the
Right.
first thing usually many CPAs are doing when they are being approached by a cannabis operator for the accounting services, when they are not sure, they're trying to look into Office of the Professions, which is the governing body of every state that issues the CPA license,
Yeah.
and try to see, like, are there any prohibitions that the Office of the Professions might have towards CPA service.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to We're Trying to Figure Out. I'm your host, Saul, and today we are trying to figure out what it actually takes to serve clients in one of the most regulated, misunderstood, and rapidly growing industries out there, cannabis. I'm joined by Renata Serban, a CPA with a fascinating background from Kazakhstan to chemical engineering to a New York CPA, and now an educator, speaker, and an advocate for cannabis accounting done right. This is not your typical tax episode, and trust me, you will walk away rethinking the role of CPAs in the space. Renata, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Saul, for the invitation to join. It is truly an honor to be part of my CPE podcast. I think it's a great series, very educational, that provide a great knowledge. My name is Renata Serban. I'm a certified public accountant and certified management accountant. I have Master of Science in Accountancy, and I specialize in cannabis accounting, particularly cannabis operators within New York and New Jersey area. I'm serving
Yeah.
cannabis operators since 2020.
Wow. It's quite a profile. And I definitely want to talk about that, but I also want to take a step back. I want to rewind the clock a bit because your story is so incredible. Even when I spoke to you for the first time and you laid me out everything that happened in your life, I was like, wow, this is fascinating. You started out in chemical engineering in Kazakhstan, and now you're a CPA in New York working in one of the most complex industries around. So walk us through that journey from Kazakhstan chemical engineering to CPA. How did that happen?
Uh, well, all the cannabis is the best cannabis is coming from the countries that end in stan, mostly because the climate is appropriate. So I guess it is sort of in my DNA, coming from Kazakhstan, where and all the other area of the Central Asia where the plant originates. Chemical engineering was really a choice for me to pursue a bachelor degree, simply because I was very versed in chemistry, and I was actually planning to pursue a career in oil and gas technology. When I came to United States to advance my education, I had to quickly change my career, and the most reasonable career choice was really an accountant, right? Anybody who knows math and chemical engineering, accounting, it's like it was just so easy for me to understand. Like I was just grasping all the concept like in a seconds. And that was really a foundation for me to pursue career in accounting. Being an immigrant obviously is challenging for a young professional. Bachelor degree in accounting wasn't enough. My master's degree,
Hmm.
it's a new bachelor degree. And
Yeah.
then also in order to compete in the American market, I knew that I have to be a certified public accountant. I have to be certified management accountant. I need to have
Yeah.
master degree simply to be at par and compete with other professionals. And the only way really you can compete with other professionals is when you know what you do, when you have the
Yeah.
knowledge, the theoretical and practical knowledge. And that was really my approach in accounting career, to really become that well-rounded accountant. And
Right.
my journey to become and where I am right now, an owner of my own practice, providing services to cannabis operators in New York and New Jersey, I knew that before I can actually get to that point, I have to be very well-rounded accountant. And well-rounded
Right.
accountant means have a knowledge of tax compliance, have a knowledge of A&A or test work that, involve the certified financials, have a knowledge of controller type of work, understanding how operations of any company are being run and how the accounting department is being run. Working for public accounting firm, really getting that public accounting experience, juggling all the priorities and the multiple clients at the same time. And at the moment, having my own practice, understanding really accounting and understanding different aspects of accounting, plus the education related to chemical engineering, which comes in handy, very useful, especially when I'm doing accounting for manufacturing, for cannabis manufacturers. Really understanding of the chemical engineering concept allows me to truly understand and dig in into manufacturing practices of a cannabis operator, to the point that a chief manufacturing officer usually like talks to me and like, like you're so versed in chemical engineering processes, like you can run this facility, which is also a compliment. But at the same time, I am pleased to hear that type of acknowledgement from non-accountants professionals,
Yeah.
because when you educate, when you speak with any client, right, when you talk about accounting in a way that you are educating anybody who's dealing with you, that is truly where the respect for the accounting job is coming. Because unfortunately for many, accounting job is accounting services is deemed a commodity, and a lot of, I think, CPAs and CMAs are at fault for that, because they're not educating their clients what actually they are doing and how that type of work can be used for decision making for the management accounting purposes.
Interesting. Interesting. What I love is that you didn't just end up in cannabis accounting. There was real intentionality behind it. Uh, like you rightly mentioned, your background in chemical engineering. So it's not a way that people would think about it. I'm going to do a chemical engineering and probably be an accountant and then serve the cannabis industry. But you just kind of like set in way, and you're clearly passionate about the work that you're doing in the right way, from compliance, professionalism, clarity. But I want to talk about the elephant in the room. A lot of CPAs still think serving cannabis businesses is legally risky or even unethical for some people. So, what are you hearing from your peers?
Well, um, cannabis is obviously federally legal. It's currently listed on the Schedule 1 of controlled substances.
Right.
And that aspect of being federally illegal really, um, I guess, a lot of CPAs hesitant in serving
Yeah.
cannabis operators because of the aspect that it is federally illegal. And the
Right.
first thing usually many CPAs are doing when they are being approached by a cannabis operator to, for the accounting services, when they are not sure, they're trying to look into Office of the Professions, which is the governing body of every state that issues the CPA license,
Yeah.
and try to see, like, are there any prohibitions that the Office of the Professions might have towards CPAs serving cannabis clients, again, because it is federally legal, and many states legalized recreational, not just medical, but the recreational cannabis. So when they are trying to look for that guidance in their state, they often are not seeing anything related to the cannabis and serving cannabis operators. And they immediately assume that since it's federally legal, we probably cannot serve the cannabis clients for ethical reasons, and we might be fined or something. So there's that little misconception about serving cannabis operators, and that really comes from the fact that Office of the Professions and the governing bodies of the states where cannabis is legalized, when they are not really on top of their work,
Yeah.
for the lack of a better word to say. And New York is actually one of those states. The cannabis been legalized since 2021, and I've been trying to get a statement, an official position from Office of the Profession with respect to serving cannabis clients. Now, the ASCPA actually issued in 2019 various positions of the states where cannabis is legalized, what are their position, Board of Accountancies, and most of them, like, in different words, but the message is the same. It is a personal business decision of any practitioner, and as long as the cannabis operator is following all the rules and regulations of that state related to cannabis, the CPAs is essentially allowed to serve cannabis operators. They just have to be really vigilant. They have to be really careful. They have to be versed in the state regulations related to cannabis, which is extremely important
Right.
to have that knowledge. And that is really the problem with a lot of states, and perhaps maybe a CPA could do better, or the states could do better, or the societies could do better. There's always room for improvement in anything we do. But I wish that there will be a little bit more guidance on that. And unfortunately,
Yeah.
some state board of accountancy probably just don't want to deal with that, or maybe let's just not address it. Let's just wait. And that is really something that bothers me.
When you talked about state boards of accountancy, I know that there is a personal story that you have here, right? So, what happened with your experience with the New York State Board of Accountancy? Enlighten us.
Well, the experience is that, first of all, there was really big hesitation when I asked that question of the
Yeah.
representative of the State Board of Accountancy, which actually happened during the lobbying day in Albany, where we were advocating. I forgot to mention, I also the chair of the cannabis community of New York State Society of CPAs, and the goal of the society is to really promote anything related and advocate for anything related to the CPA profession. And one of the topics that we were lobbying during that day, it's really the mobility of the CPA licensure and alternative pathway to get the CPA license. And as
Right.
we were during that lobbying day, we did have a representative from the State Board of Accountancy. And after that presentation was completed, I asked the question, what is the position of the State Board of Accountancy related to CPAs serving cannabis operators? There was a very big hesitation at first, the pause, and then the hesitation, and then I will get back to you. And after which I collected the email of the person, of the representatives. I'm like, okay, I will follow up with you, because I will get back to you means, as soon as I leave this door, nothing's gonna happen. And since that, I've been following up multiple times, and unfortunately, there's still no response. The official response from the representative is the legal counselor is still working on it. I don't know what is it that legal counselor need to work on. And I'd like to think that the work of State Board of Accountancy is really anything related to CPAs should be priority. And in my opinion, this is very important and it should have been prioritized. But I don't know what the legal counselor of the State Board of Accountancy has on his schedule, but that is so far is where we stand right now. The state is looking
Well,
into that and there is no official
yeah.
answer. So
Well,
Do you want to earn CPE credit? Take this course of MyCPE 1 to earn free credit. Click the link in the description to get started.
I mean, that's the purpose of this podcast, right? You want to get the word out there so others are aware of what is happening and to also get the support that is necessary. So this is taken up and the state boards are able to get some official statements out there and help create a
I
much,
just think there's so many opportunities in the cannabis accounting, and
yeah,
a lot of CPAs, very talented CPAs, are reluctant to start serving cannabis operators because, like, we don't know if it's allowed. I'm like, it is allowed. I am working on it. Yeah, but the State Board of Accounts it doesn't say anything. So it's really for the purposes of growing the accounting opportunities in the state. Just come up with the official statement. Here are the other states where the position is already stated. They all pretty much have very, very similar language. All you need to do, review it, see if you agreed, and issue the official statement. That's all. So,
all right,
when you're
perfect,
dealing with the
perfect.
government.
Yeah, it takes its time. It takes its time. There's a bureaucracy to processes and it takes its time. And until it becomes important, you know. Anyways, but we're not here to talk about the government. But we're here to talk about cannabis accounting. And when I talk to people about cannabis accounting, if I just ask them what do they understand, one word that they say is, oh, it's related. We need to make sure we have the 280E compliance taken care of. That's the buzzword. All right.
Mhm.
So it's not just the buzzword, right? What is it that you're not seeing? Can you break down some of this, the most misunderstood implications? Like, first of all, obviously, what is 280E for those who are uninitiated? And also, what are some misunderstood implications of 280E? Like, what surprises the clients and even the accountants when they're dealing with this?
Sure. There are various overlooked or misunderstood or understood aspects related to ATE. For those who are not familiar what 280 is, it's a code section within the Internal Revenue Service, uh, 77 words, one statement, which pretty much simply states that all the ordinary necessary deductions are disallowed. And that really is really coming from 1986 from the Edmondson case when he was assessed a certain penalties for either incorrectly filed tax return, and then he sent a correction and stating, yes, like here are my cost of goods sold. And that was a very funny case. I would recommend read on that case a little bit more for themselves. So the misunderstood concept about 280 is really, it's not the end of the world. You just have to really understand the aspects of running a cannabis business and what is it
Yeah,
that is allowed in cost of goods sold. Remember, ordinary necessary deductions are disallowed, but cost of goods sold, it's technically not deductions, it's a reduction to sales, right?
correct.
It's cost of sales. It's a little bit different concept. So the entire accounting framework when it comes to cannabis accounting is really focusing on this cost of goods sold. How do we come to the gross profit? And that ultimately depends on understanding of how 280 works, how the
Yeah,
tax court works, and how the business works, and particularly how the state also works when it comes to licensing cannabis operators. Having
right.
the having specialized chart of accounts for cannabis operator, specialized for cultivator, specialized for the manufacturer, and specialized for dispensary. That is step number one. It's extremely important. A lot of cannabis operators, especially in a startup mode, right? They keep records. They can use accounting software such as QuickBooks, but they not properly recording them. They're not properly classifying them, thereby missing on maximizing the cost of goods sold, thereby minimizing the effect of 280E. So understanding the chart of accounts, understanding the flow of the information, and also understanding the tax planning strategies. Because of 280E, cannabis operators paying much higher effective tax than a
Yeah.
regular businesses because they are being taxed on gross profit.
True.
Thereby understanding what entity structure should be the company should be in order to minimize the effect of 280E. And that
Right.
is very important. And cannabis operator or owner who just applying for the cannabis license from the very beginning should think about the structuring the business. Because
Right.
many times I'm having situations when clients are coming to me and they are structured so poorly that they ended up paying such a high tax that they just like, we are not solvent or we are not surviving. They are essentially in the survivor mode because
Yeah.
they're not properly structured. They do not have proper records. The documentation is very important. In this industry, there is a saying, it's not a question of if you're going to be audited, it's the question of when you're going to be
When.
audited. So it's very important for any CPA to be audit ready. So when the records are being kept, consider it like the audit is coming tomorrow. Are we ready for this audit? So that state of mind, I guess, is very important for an accountant and for the owner as well. It's not just an accountant's job. It's also the
Yeah.
owner's job to make sure that the records are intact.
Right.
Really utilizing that, hiring also experienced professionals for the purposes of minimizing 280E, believe it or not. If somebody
Yeah.
don't know what they're doing, especially in the States, it's very regular.